It's Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. Good evening and welcome to the daily happenings inside our federal machine. This is Spathon and it's time to plunge into the swamp. The Bureau of Labor Statistics just announced today that over the last couple of years, nearly 2 million jobs that we thought were added never existed. So we're going to get into that. And also, President Trump addresses the nation regarding rampant crime in Democrat cities across America. Also, the fake news media is attempting to convince the public that ICE is conducting raids at public schools. And the Department of Homeland Security corrects the record yet again. And border Czar Tom Homan gets into a fiery exchange on MSNBC's Morning Joe this morning, and we'll check that out too. Also, $3.2 billion in SBA disaster relief has been provided to victims of the Pacific Palisades fires, but the mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California continue holding up funds 8 months later. The National Assessment of Education Progress just released the nation's report card for math, science, and reading, and unsurprisingly, public school performance is down across the board. And there's lots more happening today, so we're just gonna dive right in. And if you enjoy the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have a second to do so. I would really appreciate it if you did. And also, if you leave a comment, I may just read your comment on the next episode if you decide to drop one in this episode. And by the way, everything in the video, it's no older than 24 hours, so it's all brand new stuff that just came out today, maybe last night at the very latest. Most of these are actually probably less than 12 hours old. Typically, they usually are. So I almost didn't do this because this isn't exactly swamp related, but I just couldn't help myself when I saw this. I actually did a video on Greta Thunberg just the other day. Might have been last weekend. And their boat caught on fire. Their fucking boat caught on fire because these retards fired up a flare. I don't know the exact reason as to why they fired off a flare, but it came straight back down on the boat and set it on fire. You can't make this shit up. So it is political. So I know like the US and Israel alliance is still pretty strong, even though there was a somewhat of a debacle that took place in Qatar today when Israel, I guess they initiated a strike against Qatar, and President Trump is pissed off about it because I guess he didn't have notice that that was going to happen. So not that that has anything to do with this specifically. It's kind of all in a roundabout way, sort of related with the whole Gaza situation and everything. But anyway, I saw this and I don't know, man. I couldn't pass this up with this that just came out. I mean, it came out like, I'm assuming this happened late last night over in the Mediterranean. So anyway, from Cheryl E., I'm just going to put it out there for Greta and all the retarded propagandists out there. A bomb dropped from a drone doesn't fall while on fire and full of sparks. Yeah, that's what they were claiming. So the propagandists and the anti-Israelists, they claim that a drone had dropped a bomb onto Greta Thunberg's boat. I'm assuming they're blaming the IDF or whoever the fuck they're blaming. So she's kind of debunking this, and I tend to agree with her because I've already seen a couple of these video angles. So, but anyway, a bomb dropped from a drone doesn't fall while on fire and full of sparks, but flares do. An explosive would also kind of explode. This didn't. It just set fire to the boat filled with stupid people. The idiots fired a flare that came back down onto the boat. I have no further use for these idiots, Your Honor. So let's give this a watch. There's probably no sound. Oh, there is sound. All right, let's hear that. Let me just make sure. Yeah, the sound's good. Do this one more time. Yeah, that was a flare. I've shot a flare before too. That was a flare. 100%. No doubt in my mind. Yeah, drones don't typically drop bombs that have sparks trailing off behind it as it's heading toward an object. Usually there's a term associated with a drone dropping a bomb. It's associated with the word splash, and I'm not seeing no splash. That entire boat would have been half gone instantaneously if that were actually a bomb dropped from a drone, especially from the IDF. You really think the IDF is going to drop some little rinky-dink ass fucking bomb like that? That's just only going to clip the boat and just start like a little bitty campfire on the corner of the boat? Fuck no, man. That entire boat would have been completely incinerated. Including the cameraman, too. He would have been dead, too, probably. All right, so let's move on to the next one here. So this is from someone who's pushing back from the other side of the coin. Israel exposed. Zionists claim the fire started by a cigarette. No, they didn't. They claimed it was started by a flare, dude. Here is clear video of the drone strike against GB Samud Flotilla, Global Sumud Flotilla, whatever the fuck. Is anyone surprised that Israel lied? Oh my God, have mercy. Let's take a look and see what he's talking about. Zionists and Israel media are claiming that our boat caught fire and that there was no drone strike. Here's a conclusive angle from surveillance cams on another flotilla boat of our Familia being fired on by an Israeli drone. Why the fuck ain't this starting? Okay, here we go. Now, the fact that it kind of banged is a little sus. However, it's obviously a pretty sizable flare, and it probably hit like the lid of a trash can or some shit. That's kind of what it sounded like to me. Or it just made contact and just showered. And where's the extreme explosion? Where's the shockwave? And why is the boat still floating? All right, so that's another angle from this incident from Neo Berg. Greta's flotilla caught fire because they don't know how to use a flare properly. They then blamed it on a Zionist drone and forced the Tunisian Coast Guard to declare them liars in public. Everything about these charlatans is fake and staged. So this looks like it's going to be a different angle. Let's take a look at this. Two angles, in fact. All right, here's some asshole standing here. Oh, those are the idiots yelling. Oh my God! We've been had. I think he actually said that. We've been had. You can almost see the dude on this boat just shaking his head. These fucking idiots. Smoke alarm going off now. Oh, their precious food's catching on fire now. You know, the magic food that they've got in there, that's probably not even really there. Oh, shit. Yep, the packing peanuts, or I mean real food, real peanuts is on fire now. We've been hit. That's what he's saying. We've been hit. Fuck off, dude. It came directly straight down on you. Your dumbass is fired off the... I want to see video from like a minute before this. Even though it may not show a flare going up in the air because it won't necessarily show a fireball going up. I mean, all flares probably don't perform that way. I'm sure you could probably get a flare. When you shoot it up, it probably doesn't start to illuminate until it reaches its peak height or altitude or whatever the fuck. So, very interesting, very conspiratorial, at least so they think. And one more, it's so insane to watch Palestinians be bombed and starved for 2 fucking years, and every time someone tries to help them, it's cruel bullshit. This cruel bullshit happens. This isn't normal. This shouldn't be normal. That's from Jourdain Searles. Pot base, the Global Samud Flotilla, which has boats carrying aid for Gaza, caught on fire after being hit by a projectile in Tunisian waters. A Tunisian official says that reports of a drone attack have no basis in truth. Officials also suggest the cause of the fire was internal. Yeah, it was, dude. It came directly straight down. It didn't come from anywhere else. It went straight up and it came right back down. Which it is kind of convenient to blame it on a drone. Not saying it's completely impossible. It's not completely impossible. I suppose it's sort of possible. Although I didn't hear any drone buzzing. You'd think you would have heard a drone buzzing since they're out in the calm, dead silent waters when this thud happened. I don't know, man. Maybe the drone was just really high up in the sky. Not saying it's completely impossible. I'm just saying it's 99% unlikely that it was a drone and not a flare. Or maybe it was a drone dropping a flare, but probably not. El Jacobi, breaking new footage from Greta's boat shows a crew member misfiring a flare which lands back on the boat. These people lie for sport. There was never any drone. No, man, the guy standing right here was the guy who fired the flare. He just probably didn't realize, or maybe he did. Maybe it was completely intentional. Maybe he fixed the flare onto a tripod and he aligned it so it would come precisely back down where it was fired off. That way, no mistake would have been made, because other people were obviously, there was filming happening in different locations because we got different views of it. So yeah, it was probably completely set up to that extent. So anyway, I already saw this, so I'm just going to move on to the real news, and we'll skip past the rest of that bullshit. All right, so this is from Secretary Lori Chavez de Reymer. Today's massive downward revision gives the American people even more reason to doubt the integrity of data being published by BLS.gov or BLS.gov, Bureau of Labor Statistics. And what they're referring to is what the title of this video most likely reads, and that's 911,000 jobs have been revised down from, I believe it was April of 2024 to April of 2025, which is, of course, almost fully within the Biden administration. Yeah, so we actually had almost 1 million fewer jobs that were added to the market than was previously reported. But anyway, it's imperative for the data to remain accurate, impartial, and never altered for political gain. Leaders at the Bureau failed to improve their practices during the Biden administration, utilizing outdated methods that rendered a once reliable system completely ineffective and calling into question the motivation behind their inaction. The president and the administration are putting a stop to years of neglect. We're committed to finding solutions to these problems, including by modernizing to improve transparency and deliver more accurate and timely data for American businesses and workers. And by the way, Secretary Lori Chavez de Reymer, she is the Secretary of Labor, and she's the 30th U.S. Secretary of Labor. And we'll go ahead and check this out from Rapid Response 47, just quick 30
This
second
data
clip
covers
here.
from April of 2024 to March of 2025, and it shows the end of the Biden administration was possibly not as big in terms of job growth as first thought of this. Now, the Biden administration, they created in this period 1.76 million jobs. So the 911,000 will be subtracted from the 1.76 million jobs, which comes out to 849,000, showing the Biden job growth not as strong as.
That's for a year, man. Or, well, 11 months, right? Because he said March of 2025. So what was it? Minus. So 849,000. So that's on average about 70,000 jobs a month. I mean, it's not really all too bad compared to what they're reporting over the summer. Over the summer, they're throwing out numbers like, what, 18,000, 15,000. I think for August, it was 22,000 jobs that were added to the market. So still not too bad, really. It's still probably not good historically. It's still probably kind of piss poor historically. However, they're eating a lot of shit because the BLS is supposed to be a reliable data collection agency. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, for crying out loud.
His first thought.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's already done. All right. Should have let it play for one more second, but that's all right. So Mark Wayne Mullen, largest downward revision ever. Proof Trump was right. The economy he inherited was even worse than we thought, and BLS is broken. We've been flying blind on economic data. President Trump is putting his team in place to get BLS working for Americans again, and that's in response to Heather Long. Just in negative 900,000 jobs, 911,000 fewer jobs were created between April of 24 and March of 25, the BLS says. Wow, that's a big revision. That means the labor market was weak even before the tariffs kicked in. The job market was mostly frozen in 2024 too. Average job gains before revision, 140,000 a month. Average job after, 71,000 a month. And they're adding a note. This annual revision process is normal. The BLS does it every year. Last August, the BLS reported negative 818,000 jobs. So 818,000 fewer jobs. Yes, these are large negative revisions. Why? It's mainly due to problems accounting for new and closed businesses since the pandemic. Well, yeah, of course, they got an answer for everything. 911,000 fewer jobs were created between April 24 and March 25 than previously thought. Preliminary benchmark revisions by year. The 2025 revision is the even larger than during the Great Recession. Holy smokes, man. Yeah, look at that. Oh, man, that went down. All right. And we got another one from Rep. Eric Swalwell, of all people. These numbers are horrible. When does Trump fire the person in charge of numbers? I thought that was hilarious because if you follow political news on a daily basis, or even somewhat, you probably remember just a few weeks ago, Trump did fire the person in charge. And I couldn't remember her name offhand, and I did get her name. And that's why I dropped this just an hour ago. He just did, you goofball. He fired the head of BLS, Erica McInterfer, a few weeks ago. And yeah, she was the head of BLS, who was tasked with reporting these numbers. And I believe she was working with the Biden administration during its entire term, I think. I'm pretty sure she was. So yeah, it's friggin' hilarious that he would actually post that. It's as if he's not paying attention to current affairs. And he responded to CNBC, job growth revised down by 911K through March, signaling economy on shakier footing than realized. And from Newswire, U.S. Census Bureau, official poverty rate is now at 10.6%. And responding to themselves around the same time 8 hours ago, government review shows U.S. added 911K fewer jobs than first reported. Biggest revision on record. On record. And here's the next one. When Trump fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner for incompetence, the fake news had a giant meltdown, claiming that he only did it because he didn't like the jobs numbers. Now it turns out she overstated Biden's 2024 job growth by 1 million, which is the biggest revision in history. Looks like Trump deserves an apology, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics deserves a purge, as they certainly do. And responding to leading report, which I already read, and moving to libs of TikTok from 6 hours ago. Remember last year when they revised job numbers and found that 818,000 jobs were created under Biden that didn't exist because they revised that number down last year? Well, they just revised the numbers again and found that another 911,000 jobs didn't exist. Democrats lie about literally everything. So this was from last year. This was from August 21st of 2024, the headline on the left. U.S. added 818,000 fewer jobs than thought, adding to concerns about the economy. The annual change has been anticipated by market observers who fear the Federal Reserve should have cut rates sooner. Now, you already know my opinion on that if you follow this show daily, that no, I think they should have gone the opposite. They probably should have increased interest rates up to double digits, but we're too late for that now. They should have done that back in like 2021, because otherwise the housing market may have not exploded to the extent that it has. So anyway, on the right, the U.S. created 911,000 fewer jobs than previously thought in the 12 months through March, and that was posted today. The revision draws fresh attention to the weakening U.S. labor market, which averaged only 29,000 jobs for the 3 most recent months. Wow. Holy shit. End wokeness. 1.7 million jobs created in the last 2 years of Biden's term did not exist. Absolutely wild. And from Vice President J.D. Vance, it's difficult to overstate how useless BLS data has become. A change was necessary to restore confidence. And Heather Long, which I already read. And I think that's all we've got for that one. Oh, no, hold on. I think we got another one here. So from the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, let's see, who is this? This is Kirsten Welker, moderator of Meet the Press. And she pushed back last week when I warned that the BLS jobs data would show a massive downward revision. Now it's official. 2024 job gains were exaggerated by nearly 1 million workers, and this is on top of an already reported 577,000 in downward revisions. This brings the Biden jobs overstatement to a staggering 1.5 million. The truth, President Trump inherited a far worse economy than reported, and he's right to say the Fed is choking off growth with high rates. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Secretary, you know, the economy did add nearly 500,000 manufacturing jobs under former President
Again, I think
Biden.
this is last week.
Since April, again, you're actually losing manufacturing jobs. Is that problematic for your policy?
Well,
gotcha question.
Chris, we're going to get the revisions for last year next week, and there may be as big as an 800,000 job downward revision.
It was higher than that.
This would be the
911.
second downward revision. So I'm not sure what these people who collect the data have been doing. It's good. We need good data. Secondly, what we are seeing is the jobs that are being created are going to either native-born or legal Americans. Most of the jobs created under the Biden administration, they went to illegal aliens.
Well, and I think that there would be a lot of debate over the fact that they went to illegal aliens. But let's keep moving.
No.
That's
the fact.
That's the fact. The end. I'm Ron Burgundy. All right, whatever. So from Homeland Security, it's 2025, and NBC News finds it odd we went paperless. So this is changing up. We're done with the jobs thing. So yeah, that happened. Absolute insanity. So we'll kind of see how that shakes out over the coming days, especially with BLS. And I don't know, are they going to purge the entire? I mean, they're not going to pull a USAID, I'm sure, but I bet they're going to fire a lot of people in there. At least they should. They obviously should. So anyway, Homeland Security is 2025, and NBC News finds it odd we went paperless. This is stupid and misleading. Officers are still submitting forms, just electronically, and they're talking about ICE. Officers still get approval. This is about streamlining and efficiency. So this is the headline from NBC News. Under Trump administration, ICE scraps paperwork officers once had to do before immigration arrests. So yeah, according to Homeland Security, that is complete and utter bullshit. And moving to the White House, moving topics once again. President Donald J. Trump denounces senseless crime in Democrat-run cities and the horrific murder of a young woman in Charlotte by a deranged criminal monster. Quote, "It's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order." So this was from today.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe. Thank you.
Wow, man. All right. Yeah, he made that announcement today. The White House posted it 6 hours ago, around 11:52 this morning. So, yep, that's all they got to do. And again, I believe of the 24 cities run by Democrats, the 25th, I think, is Tulsa. But if I'm wrong, leave a comment, let me know. But I think it's Tulsa. Anyway, from Secretary Kennedy, we've accomplished more already than any health secretary in history, and the accomplishments we're going to have by the end of the year will be historic and unprecedented.
We have accomplished more already than any health secretary in history. And the accomplishments we're going to have by the end of the year are going to be historic and unprecedented, including removing harmful chemicals from our food, including the 9 petroleum-based food dyes. We'll either have removed them or have committed deadlines to remove them. Defining for the first time ultra-processed food, front of package labeling for ultra-processed foods, requiring nutrition and metabolic health courses in medical schools, something that is not happening except in a very limited way today. Closing the grass loophole improving food for our military, our schools, and our hospitals, updating water quality standards, including PFAS, removing Medicaid quality metrics to measure real health improvements through fitness and nutrition, working across the government to provide more assistance to farmers to support soil health, unleash innovation, and remove the barriers that hamper small farms, reforming SNAP by working with states to remove soda and candy from the program. And I want to thank Brooke.
Good. Thank God.
For her very, very
It's ridiculous.
Work and encouraging states to, which we've gone all across the country talking to governors and legislatures, to encourage states to file SNAP waiver petitions, establishing, again, front-of-pack food labeling for sugars, for sodium, for ultra-processed foods, reforming infant formula standards, and acknowledging it and addressing vaccine injuries. These are bipartisan reforms. Many of them would be unthinkable 2 years ago. We are focusing narrowly on nutrition and metabolic health, food quality, cumulative exposures, gut microbiome, precision agriculture, and mental health.
Yeah, that's good, man. I hope they do actually add that label for ultra-processed foods. I haven't heard of that until now. That'd be great if they do that. Even with artificial dyes, even though he's working on trying to get all of the artificial dyes just out of the market completely. I couldn't agree more with that. I can't imagine anybody not agreeing with that. But basically everything he said. The only thing I might push back a little bit on is the hospital food. I know that's a massive stereotype that hospital food is bad across the board, but they probably do have some ultra processed foods on the menu, just like everybody else probably does. Although, I mean, I've eaten hospital food numerous times and I've never had any beef with hospital food. I always thought it was pretty good. But maybe I was just lucky and just happened to be at the hospitals that just had decent food. I don't know. All right, from Homeland Security once again, ASMR, the U.S. Coast Guard captures, burns, and sinks a drug boat. Over the weekend, as part of Operation Pacific Viper, the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Stone conducted 3 interdictions in a single night, seizing nearly 13,000 pounds of cocaine and apprehending 7 suspected drug smugglers. And before I play the video, I just have to say, I look through these posts on a daily basis, and I come across the Coast Guard, the military, law enforcement, all the agencies and everything, and I could do at least, I could probably do an hour show nightly just on the drug bust that I come across. They just all kinds of agencies, whether if it's on the federal level or on the state level, even local law enforcement, that the federal government will repost and just share with just the nation. I've got to come across probably at least 20 or 30 different major drug busts daily, every day. And it's unbelievable the amount of drugs that they're busting. And it's kind of a bit horrifying just to even think about the amount of drugs that were getting into the country under Biden, because they weren't stopping hardly anybody. I'm sure they were probably stopping some here, some there. But compared to what they're busting right now, I mean, it's like night and day. I don't remember seeing anything like this last year or the year before, or really any other year other than this year with the amount of drug busts that they've had. So I don't know if there's any sound to this. There might be. Oh yeah, there is. Okay. They just light up this boat. 13,000 pounds, man. Boom. Light it up. Target practice, baby. America. Fuck yeah. Woo. It looks like they're done. Done with the target practice. Yeah, they lit that thing up. So that's how they're getting rid of the drugs, so that they're seizing out at sea. They're just packing them all on the boat that they busted, and they're sinking it. All right, from Rapid Response 47, from Donald J. Trump's Truth Social account. I am pleased to report that Elizabeth Surkov, is it Sir? Yeah, I think it's Elizabeth Surkov, a Princeton student whose sister is an American citizen, was just released by Kataib Hezbollah, a militant Hezbollah, and is now safely in the American embassy in Iraq after being tortured for many months. I will always fight for justice and never give up. Hamas release the hostages now. And I've got one more from President Trump's Truth Social. See if I can size this up a little bit. It's not much better, but it'll do. So this morning, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. This was a decision made by Prime Minister Netanyahu. It was not a decision made by me. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States, is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. I immediately directed Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did, however, unfortunately too late to stop the attack. I view Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the U.S. and feel very badly about the location of the attack. I want all of the hostages and bodies of the dead released and this war to end now. I also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told me that he wants to make peace. I believe this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. I also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. I assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil. I have directed Secretary of State Marco Rubio to finalize the defense cooperation agreement with Qatar. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I don't know if he can really guarantee it because this happened. So, I mean, what's to stop Netanyahu or Israel from doing that again? Hopefully they won't. Yeah, he's obviously pissed off at it, clearly. But, I mean, damage is already done. There's not much you can do from here. Hopefully Qatar doesn't take it too personally. Although, like, imagine if that happened in the United States. Like, imagine if I don't know, like drug cartels from Mexico or Tren de Aragua from Venezuela or whatever, they were wreaking havoc on I don't know, like France or some shit, and they were supplying shitloads of drugs and tons of people were dying in France. So France just decided to just lob a few bombs into America where they thought Tren de Aragua was like were set up shop or something. Like, I mean, it sounds unthinkable, but I mean, it's probably not the best comparison to make, but I think you get what I mean. It's just for it to come out of nowhere, and then France is like, sorry, we won't do that again. I don't know, man. Hopefully it doesn't really screw up relations because, yeah, I think we've been allies with that country for quite a while at this point. And I mean, we're definitely better off having allies in the Middle East than enemies. That's for damn sure. All right, from the USCCR, the hashtag Nebraska Advisory Committee to the USCCR GOV, and that's the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. They released a report on the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on K-12 education. And you can check out the report here, which I'll link in the description. I'm not going to go over the details. It's like 20-something pages long. So here's the report. And, oh no, it's way longer than that. It's 63 pages long. So let's see, in the table of contents, they go over, they heard testimony indicating that the COVID-19 pandemic has had an ongoing detrimental impact on the mental health of K-12 students. I mean, that's a big deal. And also testimony indicating that marginalized communities in Nebraska faced compounded mental health issues as a result of the pandemic. And it goes over other things like workforce shortages and transportation and other things of that nature. So if you want to check that out, I'm sure that the results are going to be similar for every state. That's why I felt it was worth sharing, even though it's just from the state of Nebraska. I bet that it's probably going to have just about the same effect on every other city and state. And moving on to Homeland Security, you and your fellow sanctuary politicians released Tren de Aragua gang members, rapists, kidnappers, and drug traffickers on Chicago's streets. And this is in response to Governor J.B. Pritzker, by the way, of Illinois. President Trump and Secretary Noem will continue protecting the citizens of Illinois that you abandoned. And Governor J.B. Pritzker said, once again, this isn't about fighting crime. That requires support and coordination, yet we've experienced nothing like that over the past several weeks. Instead of taking steps to work with us on public safety, the Trump administration's focused on scaring Illinoisans. And of course, he's responding to Homeland Security's original post saying DHS is launching Operation Midway Blitz in honor of Katie Abraham. This operation will target the criminal illegal aliens who flocked to Chicago and Illinois because they knew Governor Pritzker and his sanctuary policies would protect them, which is 100% true. That's why there's so many there right now. And I guess in a roundabout kind of sort of way, for sanctuary cities to exist and for them to still be in existence today is somewhat of a good thing with regard to ICE moving in, Homeland Security, and rounding them up, because now they're all concentrated in these very specific areas. So I guess it just makes it a much smaller search area that they're going to have to cover. Now, instead of having to scour the entire 50 states of America, they can just go into where these sanctuary cities are and get the vast majority of them. At least I'm assuming. And this is from Chuck Schumer, and he's responding to Arthur Delaney. And Arthur says, I haven't had a chance to even look at it with regard to this stupid birthday card that they claim that Trump sent Jeffrey Epstein. Speaker Johnson tells me of the 2003 Trump note to Jeffrey Epstein, and this is the propaganda that the Democrats are circulating around. And Chuck Schumer says, here you go, Speaker Johnson, in case your little app is blocking this for you. So I know Trump's lawyers are suing people. I want to say it was a news agency who originally published this. I'm not familiar with who it was, but apparently Trump's lawyers are going after them legally to sue them for obviously a shitload of money. So I don't know if maybe they should add Chuck Schumer to the list, because he's obviously spewing and spreading this propaganda too. So, all right. Anyway, moving on to Library of Congress. Did you know today is National Teddy Bear Day? You may know teddy bears are named after President Theodore Teddy Roosevelt, but do you know why? It started on a 1902 bear hunting trip on which Roosevelt had trouble finding a bear, so his assistants found one for him and tied it to a tree. All right, Teddy Roosevelt. Anyway, there's... Yes, okay, cool. So they got pictures too. I didn't take a look at the thread. I just figured I would just go along as I'm recording. So, of course, also from Library of Congress, Roosevelt, he refused to kill the bear, deeming it unsportsmanlike. Well, good for him. Political cartoonist Clifford Berryman, whose papers are held at the library, satirized the event, and soon a NYC shop owner began selling stuffed teddy bears. The bear cub character became Berryman's signature. Very cool. So there's one of those political cartoons. Freedom of the city, signed the mayor. Interesting. Oh, was that it? That's all they got? Well, I mean, come on, man. The thread's supposed to have more than just one. It's supposed to have like 4 or 5. At least. Oh, well, that's all right. That's pretty cool, though. I mean, I knew where the teddy bear came from, but honestly, I didn't know that they had tied a bear to a tree. I don't know. Did you know that? I didn't know that. All right, moving on to Kelly Loeffler. $3.2 billion. 73% of all SBA disaster relief this year has gone to Los Angeles wildfire victims under President Trump. But 8 months later, the area is still in ruins while Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom refuse to cut the red tape. Massive permit backlogs have left thousands of families and small businesses unable to rebuild. The Trump administration has stood with this community from day one. The state and local government continues to stand in its way. So there's one image. I don't know if that's Loeffler there or not. Another image here. And I'm assuming these were taken either today, maybe yesterday. So there you go. Having a press conference at the steps of what appears to have at least used to be a home or a building or something. Not there. All right. From FBI Director Kash Patel, America is done tolerating poison and violent gangs on our streets, thanks to FBI Illinois, whose work shows cartels their days are numbered. Under President Trump's mission to make our cities safe again, these terror networks are no longer welcome in the USA. And he shared this image, looks like it's probably from Fox News, going inside FBI Chicago field office as agents confront drug cartels and violent gangs in crime-ridden city. Federal officers or federal officials work with local authorities on violent crime initiative targeting gangs and drug trafficking. And actually, I got the article right here. So we'll check this out. And it starts here. An FBI special agent based in Chicago gave Fox News Digital a deeper look into the Bureau's operations combating violence as the Windy City continues to make headlines for its crime wave. Is this the video here? The FBI sets its sights on Chicago. Yeah, it looks like it. Let's see if this is it. Should be it. Give this a go.
I can't emphasize enough.
Can I full screen it?
The FBI is a crush on
Oh man, that freaking quality, dude.
violent crimes in our communities. Is in the business.
I guess that's a no-go.
People in prison.
Apologies.
And this summer, business has been very good.
Crank that up. Too quiet.
My name is Robert Wazorek. I'm an assistant special agent in charge of the FBI's Chicago field office and lead our violent crimes program. In the city of Chicago, what I deal with most frequently are carjackings, commercial robberies, and our fugitive program.
There we go.
But along with that is the illicit drug trade. So narcotics, unfortunately, are at epidemic levels all over the country. If you're a drug trafficker, if you're a member of the cartel and you're trying to profit by flooding, the United States with illicit drugs, Chicago's a very
Well, yeah, man, I'm telling you, like, just again, like the U.S. Coast Guard, just over the weekend, how much was that? 11,000 pounds of coke that they caught from a couple of drug smugglers, 7 members in total, maybe from Trinidad or Aragua, probably from the cartels. It's obviously from some cartel carrying, what is that, like 6 tons of coke. It's insane the amount of drugs that they're catching or that they're discovering.
Destination. Well, because it's geographically centrally located, you can use that as a distribution hub. Chicago specifically, we have interstates that run north and south, east and west. We have a robust railway system.
That is true.
We have 2 international airports. We have smaller airports. We have Lake Michigan. We have rivers. We have a lot of opportunities for drug traffickers.
Oh yeah, man, it's Chicago.
Chicago's base of operation. Along with that, we also have a large end user market, and that is driven by street gangs, which creates another problem because that drug trade is driven by violence. A lot of our neighborhood violence is accentuated and is a byproduct of the drug trade.
Yep, that's why we got to move federal agents from D.C. into Chicago. It's a lot of crime.
In recent history, there was 8 cartels that were designated as FTOs, foreign terrorist organizations. So that's a game changer. And the reason why that's a game changer is because we can use national security tools, techniques, and abilities that we usually can't use on the criminal side.
And a license to kill.
So we're able to
No, I don't know about all that.
Trade on, every front. A lot of the street gangs are organized. And because of their level of organization, we can investigate them as like a complex criminal enterprise using things like the RICO statute, Vicar statute. A lot of the violent crimes in the city tend to be state and local crimes. Like a shooting at face value is a local and state crime. But as the FBI, we try to identify a federal nexus to help, especially in areas that are high crime areas. So, for example, it is illegal for a felon to be in possession of a firearm. So if you're a known felon and you're on the radar of the FBI, or our partners have put this individual on our radar because of the violence that they're driving in the neighborhoods, if they get in a shooting, then we now have a federal nexus to investigate that gun violation. Anytime you do any tactical operations, it's extremely dangerous. Over the last few months, the FBI has spearheaded an initiative called Operation Summer Heat. So Operation Summer Heat is an FBI-led initiative across the entire United States. All 55 field offices are participating in it, where we are aggressively combating violent crimes wherever it comes. No matter how far you think you've gotten away, whether it's time or distance, the FBI has not forgotten about you. We have not forgotten about the victims, and we will find you.
Oh yeah, they're the FBI, man. All right, there you go. From Fox News Digital. So I'll just go ahead and skip reading the article, but I will link it in the description below. As far as felons and firearms, do you think that a felon should have any ability to be put on a pathway to get his or her Second Amendment rights back at any time? Like, let's say like 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road? Or do you think full stop, you committed a felony, you breached the trust of the American public, and you can never have a firearm ever again, basically as it stands now? I'm kind of in favor of the whole pathway thing. I'm no expert in any way, shape, or form, so I wouldn't know if, like, how long of a time frame that would be for that to be possible. Or should they omit certain types of felonies, like aggravated assault, for instance, or armed robbery or whatever? Like, should they be completely exempt from ever owning a firearm? I don't know, man, because I'm pretty pro Second Amendment, and I've never especially liked the idea that somebody goes to prison, they do their time, they pay their debt back to society, but once they get out and they're good, they're no longer on parole, they're not being watched closely anymore, they still cannot have a firearm for the rest of their lives, not for personal protection, not for anything. That's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, even though I totally, absolutely, don't get me wrong, I totally get the argument that once they commit a felony and they're on paper, they have breached the trust of the public, and I totally get the argument why they shouldn't have one for the rest of their lives, especially, like I said, the ones with armed robbery and things like that. So I don't know. I always thought that was kind of a thought-provoking topic. I don't remember who it was, but some time ago, maybe a year or two ago, I heard a debate on that. All right, moving on to Caroline Leavitt. You can see the hatred in her eyes as Tom speaks the truth. Trump derangement syndrome on full display. I haven't seen this yet. I've been looking forward to this since I saw this morning. From Rapid Response 47, real Tom Homan is cooking on MSNBC.
I see on the show this morning you have Governor Healy talking about ICE
on MSNBC
doing enforcement operations at a church. False. Didn't happen.
They were parked there. They did not do an operation there. She said they were parked in a public space legally.
But to say that and to push that out there puts fear in the immigrant community. So let me tell you what's happening.
To do that puts fear in the community.
Right.
To park the ICE agent's vehicle
they're on a
near
public
a church.
Street.
They are on a public
street.
She said
they're on a public
that.
They're the federal government,
to
lady.
Respond to a criminal alien release pulled aside the road. Let me tell you, in the last couple of days, what's happened in Boston. They've arrested Victor Gomez Paris, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Guatemala, with charges of aggravated rape, assault and battery with dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a victim 14 years.
Yeah, these are the people you're protecting, lady, that you're covering for.
A 33-year-old criminal alien from Colombia with charges of aggravated assault on a pregnant victim. They arrested Joshua Gonzalez, a 23-year-old criminal alien from Dominican Republic, with charges for trafficking heroin, morphine, opium, resisting police, disorderly conduct, and drug distribution.
You're okay with them on the street,
They also
huh?
arrested Samuel Armando Barrera, a 20-year-old criminal illegal alien from Guatemala, pending charges for assault and battery on a child. So Mayor Wu and Governor Healy, they ought to be calling ICE and thanking them for making their streets safer.
Hell yeah, they should.
Protecting their communities and taking these people off the street. They've
She loves those criminals, doesn't she?
Sanctuary cities. Sanctuaries, cities, and sanctuary states are sanctuaries
Fucking
for criminals.
propagandists.
Give ICE access to the jail to arrest a bad guy in the jail rather than have to go in the community to find them. Because when you go in the community and find them, puts ICE.
He is absolutely right. And they know what they're doing when they're pulling that shit. They don't let ICE go into the jail to apprehend them for deportation. Instead, they don't even return ICE's phone calls when ICE finds out that they've got them in custody. And they will release them as soon as humanly possible. They'll probably put them at the front of the line so they can see the judge as soon as possible so they can cut them loose. And then ICE is forced to have to go out into public and conduct these raids out in public where it's dangerous just for bystanders. It's dangerous for everybody. Instead, he's in custody, completely disarmed, sitting in a jail cell. That is absolutely the common sense thing to do. And they don't. They just let them out, and then ICE has to go out and try to find them. And he is 100% right on that.
Officers at greater risk. It puts the community at greater risk. It puts the alien at greater risk because anything can happen on a street arrest. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to prioritize public safety threats. When you got governors and mayors who are releasing these public safety threats every day into the community, that causes the crime rate, and we've seen some terrible incidents in the last few days where innocent victims are murdered. This past year, I've seen...
And look at that face, man. That is the face of what, like only 80,000 people watching this show every day? I don't know the exact number, but they have lost so many viewers, and rightfully so, because they're evil. For lack of a better word, they're fucking evil,
Americans
man.
raped and murdered by people who are not supposed to be here. So rather than going back and forth and say, well, ICE has got a car parked near a church, that is ridiculous. You're out there looking for people like this. Exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they're not scaring people,
I would argue that
asshole
actually
lady.
The ICE vehicle parked outside a Spanish mass is a frightening sight, given what has happened in this country. I also, with respect...
Well, lady, they got to park somewhere. Maybe there was nowhere else to park, and they didn't want to fully block a street and cause this big scene of stop traffic. Who knows? Because if they stopped in the middle of the street, then there would have been hundreds of bystanders just sitting there in traffic. I mean, look, they got to park somewhere. There's a lot of churches around. Each city's probably got 1,000 different churches.
Respect, sir. Thank you for the information that you have shared on this show. But we would appreciate all of the information. All of it. All of the data
we got it.
that you say you have.
I've done this show several times. Every time I'm on this show, I speak with integrity, I speak with honesty, and I speak with facts. The bottom line
you just don't like what he's saying.
This false narrative, and you using the term disappearing people is
that's
disgusting.
What's happened.
That is disgusting.
To the group that was sent to El
They're being
Salvador.
deported.
U.S. citizens get arrested every day. U.S. citizens get arrested by police every day. Are they being disappeared?
No.
Laws are being enforced.
You're insane,
they're
lady.
being arrested. They're being put in detention because they committed a criminal offense.
Not like what you're doing.
What, deportations?
We're enforcing the law and arresting people here in violation of law that are public safety threats. That's not disappearing people.
No, it's not.
That's enforcing the laws of this country and making this country safer.
Oh, man. What a fucking witch, man. Wow, what an exchange. I'm glad that they actually let him go on for that extra 20, 30 seconds, because obviously they were about to wrap that up. So, man, Tom Homan, he can hold his own, can he? All right, so from Tricia McLaughlin, in Illinois, DHS Gov has launched Operation Midway Blitz in honor of 20-year-old Katie Abram, who was killed in Illinois by a criminal illegal alien who should have never been in our country. For years, Governor Pritzker and his fellow sanctuary politicians have released brutal gang members, rapists, kidnappers, and drug traffickers on Illinois streets, putting American lives at risk and making Chicago and Illinois a magnet for criminals. President Trump and Secretary Noem have made it crystal clear no city is a safe haven for criminal illegal aliens. And I hope they get every single last one of them. Whoop. Oh, great. Now what did I do? Okay. All right. So moving to Homeland Security. The fake news continues to force feed the public lies designed to stoke fear and demonize our brave law enforcement. DHS is setting the record straight. Here are the facts. ICE is not conducting enforcement operations at or raiding schools. ICE is not going to schools to make arrests of children. ICE, under President Trump and Secretary Noem, is enforcing the law and removing dangerous criminal illegal aliens, including murderers, rapists, and pedophiles who have illegally come into our country. Attention, fake news. ICE does not target schools. What if ICE agents show up? Schools prepare teachers and parents. The impact has been real. ICE raid fears keep students out of classrooms. This is all the propaganda. And parents navigate back to school amid fears of ICE and federal crackdowns in Washington. So Homeland Security setting the record straight again and again and again. So anytime I see that, I always try to at least make a point to show that, because I have no idea what people are looking at in the news. So it's good to at least see the record corrected from the fake news media. And from Secretary Sean Duffy, leftist policies allowing rampant crime are evil. Irina, I can't remember how to pronounce her name. Irina Zartuska, Irina Zartuska, would still be here today had her killer, who was previously arrested 14 times, remained locked up. And the absolute lawlessness infesting public transit is unacceptable. Under the president's leadership, the Trump administration is going to clean it up. This is from Fox News.
These are evil people, and he's right, but it's also evil politicians, like the mayor, the city council, the DA, the governor in North Carolina. Evil people with evil policies that are actually destroying communities. So the problem, Sean, is a lot of people, like the rich liberal, they can't ride Uber, they don't have a driver, they don't have a vehicle, they actually have to ride public transportation.
Yeah, that's what it's there for.
Public transportation has become an epidemic of violence and homelessness across the country. And so we don't have a ton of equities at DOT, but we do have money. Your federal tax dollars go to fund a lot of these transit systems across the country. And we have to look at them and say, well, maybe it's appropriate that we start pulling some of that money back, because I don't think the American taxpayer wants to pay for the homelessness and criminal element that harm little 23-year-old girls like this who are going home from work from ordering a pizza, that they're going to get stabbed in the neck. And
Insane.
Liberals want to hide that story so you and I don't talk about it.
They
so
haven't
the American
reported on it,
people don't know
apparently.
that their failed policies don't work for the American people.
Yep. And that's what I've heard too. I heard that none of the mainstream media are reporting this story at all. They're just keeping it completely crickets. And right now, I mean, if they start reporting it now, it'd make them look even worse, probably. But regardless, they really need to report it, because, especially in a place like Charlotte, if they've got viewers who are in Charlotte, North Carolina that watch CNN all day, they deserve to know. And from Secretary Sean Duffy, U.S. DOT will investigate and make sure zero tax dollars go to soft-on-crime transit systems that allow horrific tragedies like what happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. Murders on public transit like that of Irania Zertuska should never be allowed to happen again. Just quick,
I can't
17
pull money
seconds.
today from their transit system. I actually have to do an investigation. That's what the law requires. We start that investigation tomorrow, and I guarantee all your viewers that if I find what I think I'm going to find, they are not going to have your federal tax dollars going to their public transportation system. Zero, none, nada.
Good. I think the taxpayers would be perfectly fine with that. All right, I'll just go straight to playing the next one here.
Here's what's
This
interesting.
last one.
Law enforcement actually works. We're 4 weeks into President Trump in Washington, D.C., and the stats as of last week is robberies are down 52%, carjackings are down by 38%, violent crimes down by 40%. Those numbers have improved. But when you put cops on the street, when you put cops in the subway, when you put cops everywhere in a community, guess what? You protect your people. And what frustrates me is liberals want you to ride public transportation. They hate cars. They hate airplanes. They want us all to ride public transportation. Wouldn't it make sense that they'd want to make it beautiful, clean, and really safe? But they do the exact opposite. They say, we're going to disregard the voting public, the hardworking men and women who put their boots on every day and go to work, and we're instead going to stand up and fight for the homelessness and the criminal element that reside on these trains.
It just goes to show, no matter what stance that Trump takes, no matter what it might be, they immediately do the opposite, no matter what. So Trump's advisors, any experts around him, I don't know if they're taking some time out of their day to try to come up with something else that would be absolutely insane for Democrats to take a stance on, and something that would help Trump to at least make it known that he supports whatever X might be. I don't know, but I mean, this it's just common sense that he wants to crack down on crime in DC, and now all of them are pro-crime. It is absolutely insane, man. It's absolutely crazy as hell. And rapid response 47. Let's see. Okay, so we already did that one, right? Yeah, we already did that. So I didn't realize that I had clipped it twice, or bookmarked it twice. But all right, Homeland Security from 9 hours ago. That was about 10 o'clock this morning. While the media peddles false sob stories on behalf of criminal illegal aliens, DHS will relentlessly enforce our nation's immigration law. We hear far too much about these gang members and murderers, and not enough about their victims.
The desperation to conceal that these people should not have been in the country in the first place is amazing. And the media in unison always labels them as just people from a state.
Undocumented citizens.
Right. These were never Maryland man. In Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case, he is from El Salvador. Secretary Noem and President Trump have been clear. He's not going to be able to remain in the U.S. He's an MS-13 gang member. He solicited child pornography, a human trafficker, a wife beater, and in this other case, we have a murderer. We are not going to allow these types of criminal illegal aliens to remain in the U.S., and we are speaking truth to the American people and calling them what they are, criminal illegal aliens.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that Supermax lockdown prison that they have in El Salvador, but hopefully he's going to spend a lot of time there. And from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, let's see, watch Acting ICE Director Todd M. Lyons discuss Operation Midway Blitz with Joe Abraham. father of Katie Abraham, who was tragically killed by a drunk driving illegal alien in Illinois. Man, watch this.
Mr. Abraham, I want to get your comments on what the governor of Illinois had to say about this. Once again, this isn't about fighting crime. That requires support and coordination, yet we've experienced nothing like that over the past several weeks. Instead of taking steps to work with us on public safety, the Trump administration focused on scaring Illinoisans. Well, your daughter was scared when she was senselessly killed, right?
Yeah, and it hurts me that I wasn't there to help her in any way. You know, it's tough to take anything our governor says right now. His silence on this matter, from our perspective, has been deafening.
Oh, dude, I'd be infuriated if I was him.
When he talks about coordination and you know, it's a two-way street, right? You would think a leader of his state would also reach out and try to find some type of a midpoint, right? Maybe it's not National Guard in the street, but it's certainly not status quo. Is there not something he can do with the administration somewhere in the middle to help what's happening, not only in Chicago, but in his whole state?
Well, Director, he can start by honoring your detainers that you put on criminal aliens that are within the country, right?
Yeah, you want to 100% right, Lawrence. You know, the governor's been silent on this, to Joe's point, and that's what is deafening, right? Immigration and Customs Enforcement has always been in Chicago. The brave men and women of ICE have always been there trying to take these criminal aliens off the street. I think that's what the governor is missing. You know, I had the opportunity to sit with Joe and talk about Katie's life in June, and I wish more elected officials would talk to these angel parents, because this is what the men and women of ICE are doing every day. We're out there going getting these criminal illegal aliens that the state and local officials don't want to deal with, or they don't have the heart to deal with. We have to take these threats out of the street.
Yeah, and remember, a lot of these criminal aliens are some of the worst dregs of society that were let out of prisons across Latin America. They emptied out their prisons in the last 3-4 years, and they migrated up here. So that's where a lot of these criminals are coming from. So they've got it ingrained in their minds that they've been a criminal their whole life. It's all they know. And now they're coming up here and wreaking havoc.
So young people like Katie will be around to have a great and wonderful life.
Joe, what is your message to the leaders out there? Because they seem to just resist every effort. And we're just talking about the worst of the worst right now, the criminal aliens in this country illegally. What is your message to those that are resisting right now?
I would say show some leadership here. Leadership isn't saying, Donald Trump says this, so I'm going to do that. There's got to be a reasonable, rational midpoint here. Again, it doesn't have to be one extreme or the other, and you don't go to your corners. If that's leadership, we have no leadership then. I would expect that he would work with the administration to make our streets a little bit safer. So in that case, if that was happening, I would still have Katie with me. I don't. Right now, I have a life sentence, and that's where me and my family sit. And Katie has death. We have been separated. You know, I love the terms I keep hearing. Families are separated. Children are being taken, or parents are being taken. My daughter was taken. We are separated. I will never see her again. She got death. I got a life sentence.
And it's horrible. And Mr. Director, as a result of this, your men and women are being doxxed right now. What's going to happen? They're already in Chicago. But when you send the surge of resources, how are we going to keep them safe so they can get justice for Katie?
You know, we're going to work with our federal partners, with the Department of Justice. We're going to make sure we hold those people accountable. Good. But every day, the men and women of ICE and the other federal partners that are with us in Chicago,
that's why a lot of them wear masks,
by going out there and
the
getting these criminal aliens off the street. That's who we're out there fighting for every day. Fighting for parents like Joe, fighting for victims like Katie. We have to make sure that these criminal aliens are removed from our neighborhoods. And to Joe's point, we're not out there separating families. We're not out there arresting people trying to make a better life. We're out there arresting criminal aliens, known suspected terrorists, and gang members that are ruining our community. So the men and women of ICE are going to stay in Chicago, and we're going to stay in all the major cities across the United States to ensure that we remove this public safety threat from our neighborhoods.
Well, I just hope that everyday people, not even necessarily voters, but just everyday people are watching their elected officials that they're voting for, some of them, some of the citizens at least are voting for them, and seeing that they're covering for criminals. Because right now it's on full display. They're openly admitting to protecting not only criminals, but criminal illegal immigrants from other countries. They're trying to protect them, and they're releasing them out into the street, so ICE has to go chasing after them. So I don't know, man. I just hope that they're paying attention. Just everyday people that are living in these cities, because it's appalling. It's absolutely insane. All right, from Secretary Linda McMahon, she's the Secretary of Education. Today's NAEP NCES 12th grade math and reading and 8th grade science scores confirm a devastating trend. American students are testing at historic lows. Nearly half of America's high school seniors are testing at below basic levels in math and reading. The status quo is failing our students. Let's take a watch.
In January, the Nation's report card delivered a sobering and heartbreaking truth about the state of education in America. Academic achievement is at historic lows. Nearly 7 out of 10 4th and 8th grade students are not proficient in reading, and the results are similar for math. Today, the National Center for Education Statistics released more data that shows this bleak trend carries through to our 12th graders. In 2024, 78% of high school seniors were not proficient in math, and 65% of them were not proficient in reading.
Wow. Dude, what number was that again? 78%? 78% of high school seniors were not proficient in math. What percentage of high schoolers end up going to college? I just have to know that real quick. Let me just see if I could figure that out. I try to keep it somewhat specific. All right, 62% of U.S. high school seniors went to college last year, class of 2024 graduates. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 62.8% of recent high school graduates aged 16 to 24 were enrolled in college in October 2024, up slightly from 61.4% for the class of 2023. So 62% of high schoolers from last year went off to college, yet 78% of them are not even proficient in math. You can't make this shit up, man.
And 65% of them
65 are not even proficient in reading.
At a critical time, right before students enter their next stage of life, more 12th graders are below the NAEP basic benchmark in math and reading than ever before.
Damn it.
What does this mean? It means that well over a third of American high school seniors cannot reliably explain the main point of a passage or define a key word used in a sentence. Despite billions in federal spending and countless well-intentioned programs, the achievement gap between students is widening, not shrinking. And this trend did not begin with COVID. It goes back a decade.
Oh yeah.
Clearly, success isn't about how much money we spend, but who spends it. That's why President Trump and I are committed to reversing course and returning control of education to the states, so local communities with parents in the driver's seat can better innovate, adapt, and tailor education to their students' needs. If America is going to remain globally competitive, our children must be able to read proficiently by the 3rd grade and graduate equipped to solve complex problems. We owe it to them to do better.
Yep. After all, they are the future of our country, quite literally. And it's unbelievable. But here's some more information here. NAEP, the nation's report card. So this is from the NAEP NCES. Now available, the first post-pandemic NAEP results for 8th graders in science and 12th graders in math and reading. So this one's for science. And they show an image. I was browsing, looking at it. Okay, so here we go. So the scales score from the assessment year 2009, 2011, 15, 19, and 2024. So the hexagon is the 90th percentile, the square is 75th percentile, circle average score, diamond 25th percentile, and I don't know, the plus cross 10th percentile. And the scale score, so that's the overall average score changes. It's dropped 4 points from 2019. Now there's another, not the line chart, there's another one. No, that's not it either. That's not what I was looking at either. Now I don't know where the hell I was. There was somewhere I was looking at this. Oh, I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so the decline in average scores and scores for middle and lower performing students in all 3 science content areas compared to 2019. So physical science, life science, earth and space science, and the diamonds, that indicates a 2024 score not significantly different. So it's less than 0.5 points, 0.05 points from 2019. So these 4, there wasn't any major change from 2019 to now, but in all of these other ones, they had dropped by those percentage or those points. I'm assuming they're percentage points, aren't they? I would think so. Yeah, so not good. Down almost completely across the board, and that's just for science. And then we got one for math, and I'll just scroll straight down to that table. Oh no, shit, where is it? Directory not found. Uh-oh. Is reading here? Well, the reading's here. Maybe I'll just refresh it here in a minute. Maybe I'll open it up in a different tab or a different window. All right. So that's obviously heading further down. I don't think it's really moved up from 1994 to 1998. It went up a little bit. And then it kind of flattened for, I don't know, 10 years or so. Yeah, it barely gradually increased for the 2000s. And here we go. So let's see, 2024 score compared to 2019, male and female. So males basically the same, females are dropping 4 points, 4 points, and 3 points. And that's the 25th percentile. Average score, 75th percentile. So right here it says 31% of 12th graders reported missing 3 or more days of school in the month prior to taking the assessment in 2024. Good grief, man. Yep, they're not even punctual anymore. All right. So trend in 12th grade NAEP reading achievement level results. And that's the chart there. All right. Well, I'll link it in the description. None of it looks good. It all looks pretty bad. All right, let me see if I can get this thing reloaded. Not sure. Yeah, it's not looking like it's going to, but yeah, that was for math. Let me try private window, see if that does anything. Nope. Directory not found. All right. Must be temporary because it was working this morning. All right. So, and I've got one more from the governing board. Results from the 2024 Nations Report Card NAEP for grade 8 science and grade 12 math and reading are here, which, by the way, NAEP, I meant to show that. It stands for the National Assessment of Educational Progress, in case you were wondering. And the last time students took these assessments was in 2019, prior to the pandemic and its disruption to education. And we've got a article here. Actually, this is a 4-parter. So let me see if there's another one here. Yeah, so from 12 hours ago, here's a video from Education NCES Acting Commissioner Matt Soldner highlighting the 12th grade math and reading results. So let's see how long it is. If it's long, I'll just link it. I'll put it in the description if it's too long, because it's on YouTube. So you'll be able to go straight from one to another. And it's 3 minutes, man. All right, I'll just give this first one a play. There's more of them, but I'll just give this one a play, and then I'll link the rest.
The 12th grade is a major milestone in education, as students prepare for life after high school and consider their college
maybe that's
and
why.
Career opportunities.
Let me turn it down a little bit.
The 2024 Nations Report Card in Mathematics and Reading for grade 12 provides those insights through the National Assessment of Educational Progress, or NAEP. In 2024, average 12th grade scores in both math and reading declined to the lowest levels ever reported on each assessment. Students at all percentiles, except at the highest, or 90th percentile, saw statistically significant decreases in both subjects compared to 2019. Between 2019 and 2024, the average grade 12 math score declined 3 points, and the gap between the highest and lowest performing students widened. 45% of students scored below NAEP Basic in math, the highest percentage ever below this level. That means that students likely cannot apply their knowledge of percentages to solve a real-world problem.
What the fuck?
The story is not unique to...
How the hell are they... How are they able to pass their SATs and their ACTs effectively enough to get admitted into colleges? That would be something I'd be curious to look up. What about the average scores of the SATs and the ACTs over the last, let's say, 10 years, maybe even the last 20 years? I'd like to see It's obviously declining. It has to be declining in performance. I'm just curious to know by how much, and has it gotten to the point where universities are lowering their standards for minimum required on an SAT or ACT in order to be admitted into that institution? I'd be curious to know that.
Grade 12. Compared to 2019, average NAEP math scores are down in grades 4, 8, and 12. And gaps are widening at all 3 grades between the highest and lowest performing students. In reading, the average NAEP score declined 3 points since 2019. 32% of 12th graders scored below NAEP basic in reading, the largest percentage ever reported below this level.
Good grief.
This means that about a third of students likely cannot draw general conclusions based on concepts presented explicitly in a text. This downward trend is not limited to 12th grade. The 2024 Nations Report Card showed average reading scores are also down in grades 4 and 8. But how do these scores at the end of students' K-12 experience translate to what's next for them? Are students ready for higher education? Fewer than in previous years. A third of 12th graders are considered academically ready for entry-level college coursework in math, compared to 37% in 2019. In reading, the percentage of academically prepared students also decreased, from 37% in 2019 to 35% in 2024. Yet, a larger percentage of students reported being accepted to a 4-year college in 2024. These 12th grade results provide a complete look at the 2024 Nations Report Card.
Basically answered my question.
When you compare 2019 to 2024, average scores are down across 4th, 8th, and 12th grades in both math and reading, showing that the nation as a whole has not yet recovered from pandemic-related disruptions to education. Lower performers show declines across all subjects. And, except in 12th grade reading, the gaps between the highest and lowest performing students are widening. Understanding how students are performing at the brink of entering higher education or the workforce is critically important for schools, institutions of higher education, industry, and the nation.
Oh,
for more information on these results, visit www.
We'll just have AI just take care of everything. I don't have to learn anymore. I'll just plug everything I need to know into AI, and it'll just tell me everything I need to know for when I go to work. I'll just have the AI bot answer all the questions and solve all the problems while I'm at work. Absolutely crazy. So let's see if I can get any info out of this. SAT and ACT scores declined on average in the last 10 years. Question: yes, average SAT and ACT scores have declined over the last 10 years. For the SAT, the national average dropped from about 1060 in 2015 to 1024 in 2024. So obviously a noticeable amount, and consistent downward trend since 2006. For the ACT, the composite score fell from around 21.0 in 2015 to 19.4 in 2024, marking 6 straight years of declines and the lowest since 1991. Holy shit, man. Yeah, we're cooked. We're screwed. As long as the federal Department of Education stays in place, I mean, I don't even know, man. It's not good. It's not good at all. And it's a travesty. I will link these in the description if you want to check out those videos too. Matter of fact, I'll also, let me go ahead and just post this as well. I'll repost it if you want to check that out. You can click on the link to check out my X profile in the description. It's at SPAETHON. There's an N at the end, unlike my YouTube channel. It doesn't have the N at the end of it, because I do have a Spathon YouTube channel. It's just more of a personal one. I just post whatever, you know, upload videos of, like, you know, poison dart frogs, and sometimes I go metal detecting on the beach. You know, I'll post stuff like that. But anyway, so that's why I created this channel, so I can stick specifically to the swamp. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would really mean a lot to me if you do. And I'll drop a new show every evening, Monday through Friday, covering the swamp and everyone living in it, the politicians, the bureaucrats, the agencies, and everything else. I also post daily episodes over on X, so feel free to comment over there too if you'd like. And thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your night, and God bless America.